Hi everyone, today I have my friend's 5 Series with the B58 engine. Let's take a look what's going on under the engine cover. BMW engine covers make great areas for rodents to make a nest. You can see right here, this area in the foam has been chewed out by a rodent, and then they make a nice nest. And while they're there, because the harness is so delicious, they actually can chew your wiring harness. Cylinder 1 got chewed by a rodent and did some damage, and we have some exposed copper. I did a quick fix of just putting some silicone over it so it wouldn't short out. He was getting a misfire. We're going to prevent this from happening using Honda Rodent Tape, and I have a new wiring harness to put in this B58 that we're going to wrap up with that rodent protection tape. This ignition harness is not cheap, so to protect the investment for my friend, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this with the Honda Rodent Tape. Here's that Honda tape, and it's like a pepper tape. It is hazardous material if they ship it to you. You can see it has this rodent symbol on it. This is a great deterrent to keep rodents from eating your wiring harness. I would highly recommend that if you do work with this Honda Rodent Tape that you wear gloves. Be conscious of not touching your eyes. You can smell it a little bit. It's not overly strong to your nose, which is good. You don't want to get it into your eyes. Now it feels like electrical tape, which is great. And basically what you're going to want to do is just all of this exposed wire right along here, we're going to want to just tape that up a little bit at a time. So we're going to start here down at the end, take our Honda tape, and just go ahead and start wrapping. Keep a little bit of tension. Doesn't have to be pretty. You can make it as pretty as you want. But putting this Honda tape on here gives you that added safety to protect your investment. And I would take it as close to the end of the connector as you can. And it pulls off pretty much like electrical tape, which is great. It's very easy to handle. And there we go. So that area is now protected by rodents. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tape up the rest of this harness. And here's the final wrap product right here. And I did wrap even the plastic area. So they'll chew right through this plastic sheathing and get right to the wire that's underneath. So I would highly recommend, if you have any exposed wire, that you wrap it in the Honda Rodent Tape. You can even see right here, this is the injector for cylinder 2, and they actually chewed the wire all the way down to the very end of the connector. That makes this an unrepairable spot because you can't get these connectors and pins separately. And with your extra rodent tape, you can actually hit any other exposed areas like they chewed. They didn't chew, oh, they did chew that one right there. This actually goes to the manifold absolute pressure sensor right here. They chewed that. I'm going to definitely wrap that up right there. That actually goes to his dyno system, which we have a dyno tune in this. If you want to see a video on that, I'll put a link up in the corner for you. Now on this beautiful B58, the rodents actually like to get under the intake manifold and they chew the wiring that goes to a temperature sensor. If they chew that wire and somebody does a repair on it, will actually cause the coolant to boil over in the radiator and you'll end up with overheats. You can't actually add any resistance to the temperature sensor wiring on a B58 or you'll actually have overheats. Now if you want, the repair instructions does say to disconnect the negative cable of the battery. Let me show you where that is real quick. Well, maybe I won't show you where that is. This is so funny. So, you know, you get in a shop setting and you have to replace a battery on a customer's car and it rolls in with 1,000 pounds of stuff in the trunk. You'd have to take all this out to get to the battery. Well, the battery's under the bottom panel. You just lift that up and disconnect the negative cable. You can do that for safety, but if the car's asleep, you can replace the harness without disconnecting the cable, but repair instruction says to do it, so if you want to follow full repair instructions, disconnect it. There's just too much stuff in here to take out. Now we do have to unplug the engine computer, so it's underneath this cover right here. So this just pulls up, and it's just held on by a clip here and a lock tab right here. And we have to unplug the engine harness computer connection because we need to get to this connection right here. If your vehicle was awake, you want it to actually just rest for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll make sure that the engine computer is off. Then you can go ahead and start disconnecting these. They're very easy. You just press the tab and slide it down to unlock it and lift it up, and you can move that out of the way. And we're going to want to do that with all of our connectors here. Alright, so I think this last connector is the one that we need, because I see it going down to the harness right there. So what's great news about this connector is that you can't plug them in wrong. They're keyed. So that one won't go in. It will only go into the correct one. Alright, that one does belong there. This one does not belong there. Can't put it in. This one goes there, number 3. So you can see that they're keyed, and you don't have to worry about putting them in the wrong spot or even really keeping track of them. You just have to make sure that you don't force them into place and break something. So to replace the harness, we just have to lift up these locking tabs right here and then press that, push that back with a little bit of force, and that should disconnect the connection. So that's injector number 1. We have to get injector number 2, same way, and injector number 3. So if you just have a pick, you can work your way back and pop these free. Same thing with the coil connector. Just lift up to unlock. If you have to, you can get underneath. You can push up and give a little push with my pick and work all of these connections free. There she is. It's all the ignition coils. Now right back here, right here is just a little cover because we need to get to this back coil. You can see that actually this just twists and falls into place. So I need to get the last one back here. Here's a quick tip on these connectors. If they don't want to come out, take your pick and go up against the body of the injector and slide up, and you'll catch the hook, and then you can actually put a little bit of pressure right there and at the same time pop it free. Now there's only 2 8mm nuts holding this down, 1 and 2 here, and these are torqued down to, I believe it's only 5 Nm, so they're just gently snugged down. With those 2 nuts off, you can lift up the harness and you can access the other injector plugs a little bit easier. Just make sure you don't turn your key on with these off, or start or try to run your vehicle. These are actually grounds and it could cause damage. Now that this wiring harness is all free, there's just a plastic holder here, so just have to lift up on that to lift that free. And then there's some press tabs here because this is a slide lock. Pull them back, lift it up, and that comes free there. And with this one, just popped it up out of the holder, and that comes out, and the harness is removed, and not too bad. So here's our old harness with our rodent damage. Then with our new harness, you just reverse it. There's a little plastic holder right here. That's where that has to go. And then this is going to flip over the top. All right, this one goes here. And then you have this one, which goes like this. My 2 tabs up top. And that's going to slide down and into this bracket and lock in like so. There we go, that's better, I think. And this is the first connector that we have to connect. And then you just have to put them on in succession because they build off of each other. Make sure no debris got into the connections. Like so. Yep, and that comes up this way. Now, if you want to take the time to wrap all of this, you can. I am limited on rodent tape and time, so I'm going to continue. So you saw that hook's back there, and then this just pushes down and locks on to this tab right here for that cover for your DME inch computer. So now we're coming back this way. We have this right here. This harness is going to clip on right here, but make sure to start by plugging in all of your injectors and coils. All right, work your way backwards. Cylinder number 6 first. This way here. So this is my 2-pin injector. Make sure it's in and push the locking tab down. There we go. Jeez, that was tight. Okay, and again for the coils are 3 pins and your injectors are 2 pins, so you can't mix these up. It's pretty self-explanatory. 2-pin, only thing it can fit is my injector. I mean, 2-pin is the injector, 3-pin is the coil, right? You need a primary, secondary, and ground for your coil. These new injectors are very tight. And then just rest the harness. These 2 feet go right over the top of the fuel rail. And then that's my ground right there. So that's how that's going to sit. And then you remember, start with your last one first to go to cylinder number 6. And it's going to be a little bit of a different tension because you do have it taped with the rodent tape. So it changes the tension. So it's a little bit harder to get on. Not impossible though, just a little bit stiffer of a harness. Just gives it that added protection from rodent chewing. Oh, my back hurts today. Leaning over a car is not happy. Plug side up, lock it. This I made sure to wrap that even on this top. This is a ground. You can see I hit both these tops. It's a perfect spot for rodent to sit here and chew that wire. So it's not too hard to replace the harness on a B58 for the injector harness. Now there's also the sensor harness. There's a module 1 and 2 harness. That's all these other harnesses, and they do run under the car and under the intake manifold. If those get chewed, you're probably going to want somebody else to do that because it is a lot more involved. But for an ignition harness, it is something that I feel the do-it-yourself mechanic can do. This is going to just push down onto that tab. Once your harness is in place, just tighten down your 2 8mm nuts here. And remember, don't leave them hand tight. Let's snug these down. And I believe this was only like 5 or 6 Newton meters, so I'm just going to gently snug, not even a good and tight, gently tight. It's not much. Yep, give them a wiggle, everything's good. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just hit the rest of this with some rodent tape while I have it exposed. So you don't need a new harness to do this. You can actually do it to your existing harness. Just take your tape. It doesn't even have to be pretty. The whole idea is to keep the rodents from chewing the area. So as long as you get some good coverage on the sheathing, because they will chew through it. This is all going to be covered by the vanity cover anyways. You can go ahead and do a rough taping for protection of your wiring harness, especially all of these exposed pieces on top. Why wouldn't you do this? This is a very, very inexpensive way to get some insurance to keep those rodents from damaging your vehicle. Wiring harnesses are not cheap, and they are delicious to rodents. Well, there we go. Down and dirty rodent protection from Honda Rodent Tape. Great way to protect your investment when you know you have rodent damage and the wiring harness was replaced. Well, that's how easy it is to replace the ignition harness on a B58 and protect yourself by using Honda Rodent Tape, which is a taste deterrent to prevent rodent damage to your new harness and to protect your existing harness. All right, I'm going to finish this up and hit a few more spots that I missed. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to check out my full rodent video for protecting your harness, check out this link up in the corner, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, everyone.